Today I could see only 17 people. Please ask your friends to join quickly so that we can start. 2 more minutes I will wait. Put the message in the group and ask them to join. Okay, then I'll continue. Okay. So in the previous class, we were discussing on an example where one account is linked to multiple contacts. Okay. And on the contact, we created a field called we created a field called hello. Is my voice clear now? Is my voice clear now? Maybe. Is my voice clear now? Put in the chat window once. No, sir. Echo. Okay. Is the voice fine now? Is the voice clear now? Put in the chat window. Is the voice clear now? Little bit clear. Clear. Okay. Um, So we want to write it with the in such a way that whenever Whenever you modify a contact related to an account, okay? So there is an account A1, okay? Under A1, there are C1, C2, C3, three contacts. Okay, let me open these three. C1 contact revenue 5,000, C2 contact revenue 2,000, C3 contact revenue 3,000. 5,000 plus 2,000 plus 3,000, total 10,000. So that 10,000 should be visible on the annual revenue here, okay, on the account. So this is what the expectation, okay. Now, if I make some changes, like for example, here I will create one more contact, okay, con C4, okay, and for this one, I will give the contact revenue as 1,000. Now, what should be the total? 11,000 it should come. Let me save this one. Okay, it got saved. Okay, after saving, let me go to A1. A1, see the total is updated to 11,000. First scenario, inserting a new contact. Okay, that is one scenario. Now, let me do, see here total how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is calculating correctly. Okay. This trigger I deactivated, so that's why this trigger is not working. Okay, fine. So the next one is I want to modify the value from 5,000 to 4,500. Okay. Now what should be the value? 10,500. Let me go here. Refresh the account. Okay. 10,500. Okay. Now if I delete 3,000. Okay. If I delete 3,000, now what should be the answer? 10,000, 3,000, 10,500 minus 3,000. What is the answer? Let me refresh this. 10,500. It is coming correctly. Let me go to recycle bin and undelete this one. Now what should be the answer? Again 10,500 because it got undeleted, right? Again, let me go to account A1. Okay, again 10,500. So all scenarios it is working fine. Yes or no? Okay. Now let's go to the code and see the understand line by line. Trigger, trigger name. You can write whatever name you want. Okay. On contact or account because I have written trigger on contact. Why? Because whenever I make a change on contact, then I want to fire the trigger. The result I am seeing on account, but on account I am not making any change. I am making my change on the contact records only, not on account records. So that's why I have written the trigger on contact. Okay. What are the scenarios I am interested in? After insert, after update, after delete, after undelete. Okay. These are the scenarios I am interested in. Okay. So I have written all the scenarios. After that, set of account IDs. I have taken one set. Okay. If trigger dot is insert or trigger dot is update or trigger dot is undelete, if any of these things happen, then what I want to do, trigger dot new will contain if I am trying to insert. See what I have done already contact one, contact two, contact three, three contacts are there. I tried to insert the contact four. Okay. Few minutes before I have done right. So I try to insert the contact C4. So that if I am trying to insert, then trigger.new will contain C4. Okay. If I am trying to update or if I am trying to undelete, then trigger.new will contain that value. And also not only single contact, at a time 10, 100, 1000, anything. At a time 256 records I want to load through Excel sheet. So what happens in all those contacts? Okay, all those contact records which I am trying to insert or update or delete, all those things will be stored where in the trigger.new. Okay, so from here, what I am doing, so contact, okay, and here contact con or whatever you want, you can write. Okay, let's make it con so to make it simple for you. Otherwise, you get confused. So what I have done, contact on trigger new. You know how to write a for loop and how this works. Yes or no? So in the first iteration, con will contain first contact. Second iteration, it will contain the second contact. Third iteration, it will contain the third contact. Like that. If there are 100, it will loop for 100 times. Okay? If there are 1000, it will loop for 1000 times. Okay? So in the first iteration, for every contact, okay, for every contact, if you go to the contact, for every contact, there is a field which links this contact to some account. Okay, if if this contact is not linked to any account, it means under any account. See now, see contact C1 is there, that is linked to A1. C2 is also linked to A1. C3 is also linked to A1. That's why if I open the A1, under A1 I can see C1, C2, C3, C4. Okay. If I create a new contact C5 and if I don't link that to A1, then what will happen? Contact will be created, but those that contact is not linked to any account. Okay, so I am interested in contacts which are linked to account because I am interested in getting the total of only contacts which are linked to this A1. Okay, I am not interested in contact which is not linked to anything. Okay, so that is why what I am doing. That is why here I am if condition I am using con dot. What is this called? This one. First iteration, first record. Second iteration, second record. Third iteration, third record. What I'm doing, every record I am verifying whether this record is having the account ID field value, yes or no. Not equal to null. Means what? If it is having value, then that contact ID, sorry, that account ID value added to the this set. If the value is not there, then no need to add yes or no. So that's why I kept the if condition here. Okay. Similarly, if trigger dot is delete, when you are deleting, what happens? When you are deleting, records will be present in trigger dot old. Records will not be present in trigger dot new. Yes or no? When you are inserting, you will have values in trigger.new. You will not have anything in trigger.old because that is the first time you are inserting. When you are updating, you will have values both in trigger.new as well as trigger.old because before updating, what is the old value? After updating, what is the new value? When you are deleting, what happens? Only old will be there. When you are undeleting, only new will be there. Okay? Undelete is almost equal to creating a new one. Yes or no? Okay? Fine. So similarly, how we have done here, similarly we have done here. So now what we have done, we have identified all the contacts which are linked to some account and we ignored all the contacts which are not linked to any account. That we have done till here. Till here, that is what we have done. So all the account IDs, okay, we are putting in this set. So this account IDs will contain account IDs which have some contacts linked to it. Okay, yes or no? Now I am creating one more list of accounts. Okay, I'm just creating a list and I'm keeping it aside. So here for ID, account ID and account IDs. All the account IDs set is there. So for example, if I have 10 accounts, first iteration, first account, second iteration, second account, third iteration, third account, fourth iteration, fourth account. Right? Now here what I have done, here first iteration ID, first ID. So that ID I am using here in the where condition. Okay. That ID I am getting. Okay. So now with that, I am getting the account ID along with that contact revenue from the contact. Both account and contact information I am getting. And inside this, I am writing one more if condition. Here, contacts under this account, there are multiple contacts. All the contacts, ACC dot contacts will give me all the contacts. That contacts should not be null, okay? And also the size should be greater than 0. It means it should have at least one contact associated to this account. In that case, then total revenue. This value is where this is a variable I created, total revenue, okay? Uh, Total revenue initially I am giving 0. Then for every contact, what I am trying to do, first contact annual revenue, contact revenue, I am adding it to that. See, total revenue plus equal to. What is the meaning of plus equal to? It means total revenue equal to existing total revenue plus contact revenue. You can write this instead of plus equal to, you can write only equal to and you can write like this. This is the meaning of it. Existing, if see for example, initially no contact is there under that account. Okay. First contact, then what happens? This will be added to 5,000 will be added. Initially 0 is there. 0 plus 5,000 what? 5,000. After that second contact. In the second iteration already 5,000 value is there. 5,000 plus 3,000 what? After that 2,000. 10 like that. Okay. After that see. Now what I am doing, this annual revenue variable value which I created, this variable value inside this variable I am trying to put on the annual revenue field which is present on the account ACC. Okay. Okay. And then what I am doing, I am adding all these accounts, ACCs, to accounts to update, list of accounts. And then that list I am trying to update. Okay. So now take down this code and line by line, just click go. Now I think everyone should be able to hear my voice clearly. If you are still getting echo means you have to uh, go out of the call and come back again because others are able to hear clearly. Okay. Okay. Now make a note of this code and also verify it where how it is working. See, we have verified practically also. Okay. Take the code. clear with this trigger? Shall we move to the next concept? Okay. My idea is in the next concept, what I want to explain, I will give you a brief idea, and tomorrow's class I will explain it in detail. Okay. So, till now, what we have done, we have written Apex classes and we have written Apex triggers. So, for example, imagine that this is some code, okay? Okay. And if I have written this in Apex class, how this code will execute? This will execute line by line, like this. Okay. So, in this process, okay, for example, there is some first line, second line, fourth line. For example, there are four lines of code. Okay, imagine that there is this is one method, this is another method, this is another method, this is another method. Okay, imagine that. Then, if I want to execute, first this will execute, next this will execute, next this will execute. Okay, it will execute in the order basically. In the order in which we want to execute, we need to write our code in that way. But here there is a problem. What is the problem is, for example, if this needs, okay, if this needs 1 second to complete the execution, okay, if this needs 2 seconds to complete the execution, okay, this needs 8 seconds to execute, okay, this needs 1 second to execute. Time I am telling, okay. So imagine that this is a complex one, it will take more time. Okay. Now generally, if I execute in the order like by line, then what happens? If I want to execute this one, generally only 1 second is enough. But it is here, so that is why 1 plus 2, 3 plus 8, 11 seconds I have to wait. After 11 seconds, this will execute. Okay, this waiting period is unnecessary or not? For example, you went to DMart. Okay, let's imagine you went to DMart. Okay, there are four counters. Okay, and there are so many people who are going for the billing. Okay, there is an uncle. Okay, that person is actually buying groceries for 1 month. So he has nearly 200 items. Okay, you went and you purchased only one, you are staying in a hostel and you purchased only one plate. Only one plate you want to buy. That's it. Okay. You have only one product with you. But in the line, even if you have one product, even if that guy is having 200 products, you have to wait in the same queue. Yes or no? It is waste of time for you. Yes or no? So if they say that, okay, so if you have less than five products or less than three products, then there is a separate counter for you. Quickly you can do and go. For people, see, if I also have 100 products, in front of me there is another person, he is having 200 products. There is no problem in waiting. But if you have only one product, then if you are waiting means it is waste, yes or no? Similarly, here in Salesforce, if there are multiple jobs that you want to execute, and this job is actually taking less time to execute, but because it is executing in this order, it is taking time. So if I can move it separately, if I can move it separately from here to here, and if I run it in a separate thread, okay, so this will execute like this will execute directly like this. Then what happens? Parallelly, these two can execute, yes or no? When I will choose this way of execution, when I believe that the execution of this is not dependent of any of these values. Okay. If for example, I am giving a plus b equal to c. Okay. Now that c value I am using here in this calculation. Then what I need to do? I cannot do this way because I need to wait because I am dependent on the previous result. If you are not dependent on the previous result, then you can execute parallelly, yes or no. Okay, so this way of executing jobs parallelly when they are not dependent on each other, this way of execution is known as asynchronous execution. So, in general, if they don't say anything, it means it is a synchronous execution. Synchronous means in order, one by one, one by one, one by one. That is, if you don't mention anything, it means it is executed in the order, one by one, like that. But if you want to execute it in a parallel execution mode, okay, then specifically we need to execute in asynchronous mode. Okay. If you want to execute in asynchronous, Salesforce is giving us some four different ways in which you can execute asynchronous effects. Okay. Asynchronous effects. See, asynchronous effects, there are four concepts that we need to understand. First one is future. Future method. Next one, variable x. X as effects. Okay. Asynchronous effects. This is the main heading. Okay. Okay. Under asynchronous effects, there are four different concepts we need to understand. Future method. How this will execute means if there are two methods, this is one method, this is one method, this is one method, three. There are three, this is another method, four methods, right? So if you think that okay, this method is not dependent on this. So parallel if you want to execute, for this method I will write future. F-U-T-U-R-E, future. If I write future, then what will happen? It will execute separately. In future, it will execute. It means this one is not dependent on this. So whenever computer, I mean, whenever the server gets resources availability, okay, based on the resource availability, it will execute. Sometimes it will execute in the next 1 second. Sometimes it will execute after 15 seconds or 20 seconds. It depends. It purely depends on the system resources availability. You have no control on that. You have no control on that. Okay. What we can control, we can separate these two things. Okay. Generally, why and where we will use future method is if there is a complex logic. Okay. Generally, see, this is taking 1 second only, right? So, how we use it generally, this one we will keep it here only. This 8 seconds one is actually killing time for all others, right? So, this one we will execute separately. Then what happens? These will execute in this order, and this 8 seconds one will execute separately without disturbing this. Okay. So long running processes, long running jobs, generally we will put in future method. That is one scenario. Another scenario is, for example, there are multiple steps that you are performing. In one of the steps, you are trying to interact with an external system and trying to get the data from the external system. So you cannot guarantee, right? See, for example, to make it very simple, I will tell you. For example, if you have a movie in your C drive or D drive of your desktop or laptop, it will play quickly, yes or no? For example, if you put a CD, in that CD movie is there, then it will execute slowly, yes or no? Because it is external system outside your computer, CD is, yes or no? Similarly, if it is within the Salesforce, it will quickly execute. If it is outside Salesforce an external system, sometimes what happens, it may not execute properly. Sometimes what happens, there will be an internet connection issue that because of that you are not getting the result. You have given the question, but answer you are not getting because of internet problem. Internet issue can be there, yes or no? So many variables will be there, so many complexities will be there. So if you are doing any call out to any external system, in that case also we will use fusion. Not only this, there is another scenario wherein if you are trying to perform a mixed DML operation, it means you are trying to perform a DML operation. What is DML operation? Inserting, updating, or deleting or deleting a record is known as a DML operation, right? So if you are trying to perform a DML operation on a setup object and a non-setup object within a single transaction, then you will get a mixed DML exception. Okay. What is it? I will show you clearly in the tomorrow's class. So in that case also we will use future. But here, if I have written, see, I have used future method. Two future methods I used. For example, first okay, first one, after that second, third this one, another future method I have written. Okay. Then total three threads. This one is one execution, this one is another one, this one is another one, right? Among these three, which one will execute first, which one will execute next, we cannot decide and we cannot tell. It purely depends on the system resources availability if you use future method. But if you have a scenario wherein first this should execute, then this should execute, then this should execute. Okay. Independently they will execute, but after this one only next one should execute. Okay. In such scenarios, we will use queuable effects. Yes, we are putting them in a queue. Okay. Next, schedulable effects. You want to execute this piece of code, okay, on a specific day or specific time. So every Sunday morning, you want to execute this effects class. Okay. In such cases, what you can do, you can call that effects class from the schedule effects. Okay. So this will give you the schedule. We can give you the schedule. Okay. Like one time or recurring. Only once you want to execute. Okay. When that time comes, it will execute. That's it. Or if you want to execute it on every day, every week, every month, every year, like that. Salary, they will write a job and they will say that this salary job will execute a first of every month. Okay. So then every month first you will get the salary like that. Okay. Next, batch effects. For example, if you have so many records, like see for example, already in your system, you have account object. Okay. In that account object, there are uh, 1 lakh accounts. 1 lakh accounts are already present in the system. On the account, okay, in front of every account you want to write a Mr. Okay. Then how you will write, tell me? Using Apex class, you need to query all the records, then you need to make the update. Okay. Uh, so if you use batch Apex, okay, you will not have a limit on the number of records. So the limit will be exceeded. On Apex, using Apex class, maximum 50,000 records you can perform. Beyond 50,000 records, it will not allow you. But using batch Apex, you can perform up to 5 million records. Up to 5 million records, you can perform the operation. So, how to use these batch Apex, schedule Apex, global, all these things? Practically, we will see tomorrow. Each one thing we will start and we will try to understand. So, here in the beginning classes, we have understood the difference between what is an fx class and what is an interface. Oops concepts we understood, right? So those oops concepts we will reuse here to achieve all these things. Okay. Okay. So now, first of all, what we try to understand individual variables, data types. Okay. After that, if condition, for loop. Okay. All these things we discussed. After that, how to write an fx class. What is a method? Those things we discussed. How to execute an fx class. Those things we discussed. So many fx class examples we have done. After that, what is a trigger and how to execute a trigger, how to write a trigger. We have discussed so many examples. Now we are going to see asynchronous fx. After asynchronous fx, then asynchronous fx is also backend only. After that, we will go to the front end. Front end means Visual Force page, how to write and how to call Apex class from Visual Force page. That we will see. Once that is done, then we will go to the Lightning concept. In Lightning also, instead of Visual Force page, front end will change. Back end again, same Apex class we will call. LWC also, only front end will change. Back end, same Apex class, same trigger, same future method, same table, same backend. So all these things are back end, everything will be remaining same. Okay, fine. So this is our agenda, this is our plan, this way we will discuss. So now what you need to do, all the concepts that we have discussed till today, you try to complete going through the videos and reading the notes, practice, you complete everything because tomorrow freshly we are going to start asynchronous effects. To understand asynchronous effects, what are the prerequisites that you need to know? In the starting classes, I explained you about data types, variables, okay, if conditions, for loop, okay, class, hooks concepts. Till that, if you are clear, then only you can understand this asynchronous effects. Otherwise, you cannot understand. So, once go through those recordings, notes, you have any doubt, get it clarified, discuss with friends. By the time when you come to the tomorrow's class, if you are clear with all those things, this will really help you. Okay, fine then. So, please try to attend, don't miss classes. Okay.